Good Monday afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing well out there on your Martin Luther King Day. It's been a good one for me. Just got back from a church event, and it's been a good day so far. Some minor school things to get done before I'm done for today, and hope you guys are having a good day as well. We've got a lot of interesting model runs to go over. A very, very fast trend towards something major, um, very close out in front of us here within a week. So, if you remember, it's been about a week since we started covering the last event. And if you lived in the southern areas of Georgia, you got some snow. So, let me know down in the comments if where you live. Number one, I'd love to know where you live. Helps me out a lot to know where my audience is. But number two, if you're down there in these areas, let me know what you saw. I know this bummed out a lot of people, and it's understandable. It bummed me out too. I didn't get a whole lot here. Actually, I got nothing. So we're going to do it again. We have a chance to do it again down here in the Deep South. So we're going to get right into it. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's dive in here. So we're going to start off looking at the Euro, the 6Z Euro from this morning. We don't have the 12Z in on any site that I'm aware of. So we're starting this off. Notice we're 102 hours out already. We're going to start this off this coming Friday at 7 in the morning. So don't worry too much about the time of day yet. Just focus on that number. It's down here in the bottom left of your screen here. So pay attention to that. I'm going to forget to mention these timestamps. So just pay attention to it there. This is the Euro. Let's see what it shows here. So we've had some interesting runs of the Euro, and I can show you some from the past if I think about it. This is the latest. And we start off here Friday afternoon with some snow in areas of northeast Oklahoma, southern Kansas, and then Missouri and Arkansas getting some snow as well as a wintry mix. Over here on the right side of your screen, my face may be in the way of some of it, but this is a key. So these blues that you say up here, those are snow. And then there's this like purple color that you see. It's hard to see. Don't worry too much about this. The two main colors I want you to see are the blue and then this pink. That's ice. And of course you have the rain. Pay attention to that ice. You're going to see why in a second. So let's get this in motion here. This is not going to go through the full event. But look at how much ice this thing... I don't even know where to start with telling you. It's snowing all the way back in New Mexico in the southeast areas of it. It's snowing up in Oklahoma. Most of the state is snow. There's areas of ice and sleet mixed in. Southern Kansas gets it. This is southern Missouri, northern third of Arkansas or so. But the southern 2/3 are just ice, and I mean heavy ice. And what you may be looking at me and thinking, what do you mean ice? Because how does ice fall from the sky? It doesn't fall from the sky. I mean, it can fall like hail or sleet. I'm talking about freezing rain. So I'm going to say this now. I'm probably going to say it multiple times throughout the video because it's important. Freezing rain falls and looks very similar to what normal rain looks like. But the reason it shows up different on your screen here is essentially it's super cooled. So when it lands on things like power lines and tree branches, it sticks. And then it starts to accumulate. It starts small and then it just gets bigger as it layers on. For reference, in most areas of the US, in fact, I think all of them, if you get a 1/4 inch or so of freezing rain, that's when you start to enter the dangerous territory where you might have some power outages. I have no access to ice graphics except one. I'll show you it later. So we'll go over that. But these areas of heavy freezing rain, and this pink color you see here, and I'll say Dallas, down here to Lubbock, Midland, all the way over to the New Mexico border, all the way over through like Shreveport and Jackson, Mississippi, near where this boundary is, and it makes it all the way over towards Raleigh, North Carolina. It's just such an expansive system. So again, this doesn't go through the whole event. But look at how it just moves on off to the east. There are hours of freezing rain and snow and sleet in so many locations. This is such a huge storm here. And we move on. This is Saturday at 1 p.m. There's 7 p.m. So areas of upstate South Carolina where I live getting heavy freezing rain. All North Carolina gets it. I'm actually going to be in West Virginia if everything works out right, just in southern West Virginia on a ski trip with my church. Starting, we'll go up there Friday evening. This may get canceled because of this. I would hate that to happen, but if it continues to look like this, there's no way we're driving a bus through this much ice. No way. But we have that's all in the details, and that's to figure out later. But I mean, I could talk about the areas this impacts until I'm blue in the face, and it's not really worth it at this point. Areas of the southern 2/3 of the country, pretty much, and mainly the southeast, get something except for the farther south areas. Southern Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and the southern parts of Louisiana and Florida don't really get anything. Most of South Carolina gets freezing rain. In fact, that's like the entire state cover. So don't get too caught up in the details here. Not yet. So that's the latest Euro. It has continued doing this, guys. I mean, I can show you. I'll show you the overnight run. I mean, it looks like no different, guys. It looks the same. Runs out and almost looks exactly the same. 6 hours different. Let's take this back a little bit. I'm gonna go. This is not gonna take us that far enough. I'm gonna go a few runs back. This might not show it, guys. Nope, it showed. This was the first one that showed. Okay, the overnight last night, actually two nights ago. Sorry, not the 6Z, but the 6Z yesterday. If that makes any sense. Did not show much of anything. But look at this. So maybe if anything, the system has stayed the same. Maybe ticked north a little bit, and that's what you expect to happen. So don't get caught up in the details. Let's go back to the latest run, and we're going to. Number one, we're going to click on the right thing. Then we're going to go here. This is the total snow. I'm going to try to keep a straight face here. Knoxville, Tennessee. You didn't read that wrong. That says 15 inches of snow. Pretty much all of Tennessee here, for example, except for the far southern areas, get not just measurable snow. Measurable snow starts in this like teal color. We're talking about insane amounts of snow being modeled here. This is not a forecast. Don't share this. Don't look at this. Well, share the video, but don't screenshot this and then share it and say that this is what's going to happen. That's not it. I'll be snowboarding, skiing somewhere up in here where it says this much. So that's cool. But in these yellow areas you see here, I think the yellow really starts near 12. It starts near a foot. There are areas in here, 16 inches there. I mean, just ridiculous amounts of snow being modeled off of the Euro here. We haven't even moved model guidance yet. All the way, we have more than measurable snow back here down towards Midland, Lubbock. San Angelo, Texas is close. That's 3/10. It's not a whole lot. But Lawton, Oklahoma, with 8 inches of snow. Central areas like Oklahoma City, with 5 to as much as 8 inches being modeled here. So we're gonna go back one run so we can look at the rest of this event. So notice how it looks mostly similar. Maybe the latest run increase some of the totals back further to the west, but still, these swings are expected. So the latest run didn't do quite as much with the snow. It did do more with the ice, though, unfortunately. Areas, and we have family that lives up here in Virginia Beach, and this would just... I'm not going to call this a crippling snowstorm necessarily, but that's over a foot of snow on everything you see outside. Think about that, guys. I mean, that's... I don't know. Think about a ruler. I mean, that's obviously a foot long, and you could stick that into the snow, and it would keep going. It would disappear below the snow. So, I mean, for areas further south here, it looks like with this event, we're going to be on the line of just having tons of snow and then having a crippling ice storm. So that's the latest, nearly latest, Euro for snowfall. So we'll dive deeper into this in upcoming videos. We have many days to work this out. So for temperatures, for example, during this time frame, we'll look at that stuff later. Just what I want you to gain is just, if nothing else from this run, is I want you to take this and just look at the whole thing. I mean, just what a major looking storm. signal here. I mean, this is not necessarily exactly what's going to happen, but what a signal. So let's switch here. This is the Euro AI. It's no longer the latest run. We're not going to have a whole lot of the 12Z. We might switch to it. We'll see. What does the AI show? This is the Euro AI, not the GFS AI. And so we start off Friday afternoon, this coming Friday, 5 days away or less. And a massive looking snowstorm starts breaking out across the Central Plains and northern areas of the Deep South. Snowing again back into New Mexico some, but almost all of Oklahoma's got it, especially the northern parts. And it's just the entire state's taken over by snow here. Heavy snow getting down into western Arkansas, all the way down to the Midland Lubbock area, San Angelo, Dallas, Shreveport's on the line here, Shreveport, Louisiana. The Arklaw, Texas, in general, on the line. We moved this off. One more frame here. This is Saturday afternoon. This coming Saturday, we have snow in the Piedmont of North Carolina, western North Carolina. Heavy snow across all of Kentucky, the southern areas of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Arkansas, and Missouri taken over here by snow, and then western Tennessee. And for example, right here where you see these yellows bordering the blue, that line there where it switches to snow would be that some of the heaviest snow you've ever seen. Snow all the way down here in the upstate South Carolina region. And then we really get some heavier snow. This would be Sunday morning. Look at that, 12Z Sunday. We said that so many times with this last event. Here we are doing it again. Obviously, areas of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast would get this. And quick note here, if you watched the videos that I've posted over the past week or so about the event that just passed us, and you lived in the Northeast and you're like, why didn't you cover us? Number one, I wasn't thinking about it. I live down here, if you didn't know, in the western upstate of South Carolina. And so I didn't think about covering this event. It ended up doing some interesting things up there. So again, let me know if you live up in the Northeast, up in here. Let me know what you ended up seeing. But this would be another one for you guys. And we could just mention areas forever here, but just moves on out. But also, one thing I want you to note is you might be thinking that where's the ice from this, right? Does this model even show ice? Yes, it does. If you can't see it, it's just above my head here. But it shows minimal mix or ice. It's either rain or snow on the Euro, which I don't buy necessarily. I don't think the pattern for this storm will support that. I think we're going to have this rain-snow mix in areas because of our temperature profiles. That we'll get into that stuff later. We're 5 days away. It's not time to discuss that stuff yet. So let's look if we have the product. We do, perfect. So let's look at this total snow. So one thing I want you to notice right off the bat is that the overall snow footprint here is a little bit further north than it is on the operational Euro that we just looked at a second ago. But Springfield, Missouri here. Other cities will show up. Doesn't seem like we're going to get any. Just the Boot Heel, Missouri here. Just look at these values, guys. Over a foot in this yellow here. And then you start to see greens showing up. That's 20 inches of snow in Northern Virginia. I mean, absurd amounts of snow. But notice, like I mentioned, the Virginia Beach area, I have some family that lives up here. Not nearly, I mean, it showed like 15 inches on the Euro. Those values are up here. So it's a little bit further north. Again, don't take this and compare it to the Euro and get all worked up about the differences. Not time for that yet. I want you to just note this extremely impressive, dangerous looking footprint of snow we have across areas of the lower Midwest and Central Plains and Northern Deep South and Mid-Atlantic. I mean, it's everywhere. We're going to see. There's no way we actually have this. So we do. So it ran really fast. This is the latest. I didn't know this. This is the latest run. Notice how much further. I just mentioned it was showing like an inch or so. Now we got nearly a foot. So this is it's ticked way back south. Look at areas of the that Jersey Shore. I mean, this is just this is ridiculous. Long Island with nearly 20 inches of snow. Boston, Mass. I mean, everywhere gets a lot of snow in the Mid Atlantic here. You really can't miss out if you live in the Mid Atlantic based on what we're seeing model wise. Heavy snow back here all the way to Oklahoma City, 9 inches. It's not a forecast. Need to say that more. For example, Tennessee's a little bit lower on this run, but it's still ticked further to the south with this one. So who knows? We're gonna check on the GFS, and that's the last one we're gonna look at on this site, and we have to switch. So again, starting out Friday morning, like the others, start to see some rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain mix down here across the Arkansas and Louisiana border here, along with some rain. And what does it do? The GFS, notice how much further south this freezing rain is in the pink here, in areas of Texas. It's really just pushing further to the south here. And so we do get some snow mixing in, finally. Where's the GFS with this snow? We're going to move east and look at that in a second, but I mean, all of this freezing rain, there's a lot of sleet showing up on the GFS. A lot of snow as well, but not quite as much as there is mix. But almost no rain with this, just minimal areas of rain. Really just crashes down due south. It doesn't really move to the east at all. So speaking of moving east, let's look at it. Let's move east. So one thing I look at, because I live here, upstate South Carolina, I'll put a little like flag there, just so you can keep your eyes there. Look at that area and how much, I mean, that's hours. That's forecast intervals of snow, which are 3-hour increments. I mean, like, let's see. This would be 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21-ish hours of snow based off of the GFS model. Not a forecast. Moves off to the east. We have a low popping off over the ocean. Still some snow down here in southwest Texas, along with a mix everywhere else. So this closely resembles the Euro in the sense that it has a mix of precipitation, but they don't entirely agree on placement. There are differences here. So where is, or what is, our snow footprint looking like? So we're just going to run this. I mean, we're going to start, I'm going to rage bait you guys and keep you from seeing over there. We're just going to start over here. Look at these areas in southern Texas. I don't know what interstate this would be here, but south of Midland and Odessa area, Lubbock's up here. I think right in here, so you're on the northern side, but don't get too caught up in the details. Over a foot of snow here. San Angelo with 10 to 11 inches. Down to Austin getting measurable snow. Dallas here getting measurable snow. Fort Worth area, pretty sharp cutoff to the south though. Then it kind of drops some of these totals off here. And notice where the majority of this snow footprint is here in areas of the deep south is actually south of, say, Tennessee. So the Euro was Tennessee points north with the heaviest snow. The AI was generally same, but more north. And then the GFS is way down here, hundreds of miles further south. And then we move to the east. Most of my audience is probably in frame right here, if I had to guess. Most of you are. I don't even know where to start with these totals. This makes me really, really happy. That's a foot of snow at my house. Unfortunately, I'll be gone. Maybe. We see ridiculous snowfall totals up mainly through North Carolina. You're really the target area here. Southern Virginia here. I don't even know. Northeast Georgia, nearly a foot. Columbia down here with, 6 inches to as much as like 10. Wide range. The coastal areas actually get some. Myrtle Beach down here with nearly 3 inches. Do not get caught up in the details of this. Do not look at this and say this is exactly what's going to happen. This is not a forecast, and I don't want you to take this too seriously. But we have runs like this, and we're inside a week. So keep that in mind. Actually, Sorry, I'm like doing this on the fly here. These totals actually increase after the time frame of interest here. This is Monday afternoon, and watch these totals begin to grow here. I don't know why they're turning white. Look at that. There must be something else showing up here. This would be Wednesday. Who knows what's going on out there? Focus on one event at a time. This is the latest GFS, so we're done with that. Now we're going to look at to switch sites here. We're going to look at the Canadian because it's also been showing this. Take a broader view first, and then we'll move in. So we start this off here. Bam, here we are. Friday afternoon, early afternoon. It'd be like lunchtime Central Time. Area of snow in the Central Plains in general. I'm not even going to name locations here. A little bit further north, and it starts to crash south. We have a lot of sleet in the purple color, and then this red color that you see down in here would be freezing rain. So keep that in mind. Not too important right now. And then it moves off to the east. This is very similar. Look to the Euro, really. Location-wise, it's moving north and south and east and west all over the place, but generally it's the same as the Euro, except it throws some more sleet. Snow totals are similar. So what does it show? A lot, for lack of a better term. Notice how I'm not even at the end of the run. That's because, look at the end of the run. What's this? Is that 6 inches of snow in southern Mississippi? It is. And it goes away before this time frame is over. Or after this time frame is over. So who knows what's going on down there. But really just note that our heaviest areas of snow here are much further north than they are on, say, the GFS. This lines up more with the Euro AI than anything else. Our 6 inches plus is in here as opposed to, say, down here. So, now, here is what I'm going to show you, and here's what I'm concerned about. Is this. You notice how I said in the beginning of the video that a 1/4 inch is where you're getting into dangerous territory? And we have over 3 inches of freezing rain being modeled here. This is from the run I just showed you of the Canadian, which is not even the most aggressive when it comes to freezing rain. Some of these Euro runs have been much more aggressive than that. This is the GFS does give us these freezing rain totals, but it's not been aggressive with the freezing rain, so it's not really worth showing it to you. I'm looking at the aggressive stuff to try to find the ceiling here. I can't begin to fathom the kind of impacts this would bring to some areas. I mean, don't even look in here, for example, and say, why did these totals stop? We must be good. Don't look at, if you live in Atlanta, I have some viewers down in this area. Don't look at this and say, oh, we're good. Do not look at this. Too far out to tell right now. Obviously your eyes are going to be drawn here, and they should be. There are areas in that circle I just drew, and I already got rid of it, of over 3 inches of freezing rain. That's 3.5. I don't know how many times more than a 1/4 inch this is. What I want you to think about is, if 3 inches of this fall, think about a power line, right? You know, they're an inch or less in diameter. You're not looking at this, let's say, I can't find it. You're not looking at this nearly 2.5 inches. You're not adding half of that to each side. You're adding that to every side of that power line. So in areas where it's over 3 inches, 3.25 inches, I mean, that's a lot more. I'm not even going to do the math. That is not 3 inches larger. That's 6 inches larger. It's 3 inches everywhere because it sticks. So your power lines look like this now. That's absurd. I mean, these power lines are like this. They look like this afterwards. And you can get power lines to fall down with under 1/2 inch. I mean, in my neck of the woods over here, we're over 1/2 inch. We're not nearly looking like that. For areas, let's make this really, really big here and just try to like erase this. Don't look at this. Take your eyes off of this for a second and focus primarily on, say, this area of the Carolinas. Some Georgia, mainly just Carolinas, where you see this like 3/4 of an inch of freezing rain. I would call that a crippling ice storm, right? I would. We rarely get this these amounts of freezing rain further south. So our power grid is not set up to fight stuff like this. We would definitely lose power. We're out in the sticks here in South Carolina, so we definitely would lose power. There's rarely any buried lines up here. There's no reason for them to be. So this is not a good look. Now, this is just one run, and things are bound to change, and they will. I mean, I'm not even going to sit here and pretend that things are going to happen like this. They will change. But the fact that we're seeing this some sort of agreement, the euro did more than this in some of the instances. The euro, I mean, that's what we consider to be reliable. And I just opened this back up here, 3¼ inches in, I don't even know these towns, in just eastern, can't think, Tennessee, sorry, up along the edges of the western slopes of the Appalachians. That's when branches fall off trees. That's when trees fall in general. Power lines come down, roofs cave in on these weaker buildings, because again, it's sitting there. Rain just drips off of a building. This stuff is just sticking there, and it's still just straight up water. I mean, no more needed to focus on this. But this is not a good look, guys. It really isn't, and it's dangerous looking. And if this were to happen, major impacts in these areas where it turns to purple and especially to blue, this like teal color. Major impacts. Again, not a forecast though. This is a hypothetical that I'm talking about here. I'm not saying that if you live in eastern Tennessee that you should expect your power lines to look like this. Because they wouldn't be, they'd be on the ground. That's as big as some trees are. I'm not saying that. You should not be expecting that, and I would never title this video, "It's time to go get this bread and milk from the store." Never. Not until we get within 24 to 36 hours, maybe 48 on the high end. Because things can change. We saw it with the last event. Things change all the time. They can change last minute. And it would not take a whole lot to shift this area of teal hundreds of miles north and hundreds of miles south. It won't. It can do that, and it will do that. There'll be probably some runs where it throws this area of freezing rain down here, and there'll probably be runs where it throws it up here or back here. There's areas down here where it's turning teal. It's over like 1.5 inches. Let's just look for what it's worth. Yeah, 1.5 inches, 1¾ inches in areas of the Arklatex up to areas of extreme southeastern Oklahoma. But don't look at this and freak out yet. If it continues to do this, then it's time to freak out because this is crippling. And I need to be careful with my words here because these videos, they get views, not tons of them, but they do get views. And if I say this is going to be a crippling ice storm and it doesn't happen, that's not very credible of me, is it? I need to be responsible with what I say here. So I need you to know that the fact that I'm saying that means that I really think this is a real possibility. Some of these totals are really insane. I mean, I don't think 3 inches of freezing rain is likely, but I would say that this kind of purple region where we have less than 1 inch, but like between 1/2 inch and 1 inch of freezing rain, that's going to happen to somebody, and that can still definitely take out the power for extended periods of time. So here's the portion of the video. If you wanted to see model guidance, then you saw it. I'm not going to go over any more of the model guidance that's going to show you stuff like that. I would recommend you stick around though, because we're going to go over what's driving this a little bit. So let's get out to our model guidance portion here, as opposed to just the observed data here. Here we go. Starting off now, let's just move it. I'm not even going to move this anywhere else. So you may be looking here. I'm just going to keep it like here or so. This is when this event is ongoing and has already started. You may be looking at this. Well, I've gone over this before. So this is the 500 millibar height and anomalies. So this is just above or below average pressures in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, about 3 or 4 miles straight above your head. Just think about looking up. And this is the level you're going to be looking at, about 3 or 4 miles up there. These like salmon colors all the way up to purple on the color scale here are warmer colors, and they're going to be warmer temperatures typically, as well as higher pressure and calmer weather. And then these blues are the opposite: cooler air, more active weather, unsettled weather, and a shot of cold air aloft and at the surface. So here we go. This is ongoing here. You may be looking, this is our area. Looks so small on this map, doesn't it? And you may be thinking, where's the blues? Where's our trough? There isn't one. And that's exactly why this event has so much freezing rain and sleet mixed in with it is because you have some sort of a ridge signal down here. In general, it's just a little warm on the southern areas, on the southern periphery of this moisture shield. That's why we get so much of this. We have rain in areas, but we get so much freezing rain and we get so much sleet as opposed to just a rain snow line like we saw with the last one. So this is hard to explain because it doesn't look so obvious, right? But what I really want you to see here is I'm going to do some drawing. Overall, we have cooler air up to the north here. And then this is some energy from the southern stream that's been moving in over the ocean. It's going to continue to move off like that. But get rid of those two. We have high latitude blocking. Some might consider this extreme. So over Alaska, we have these these warmer colors, which pretty much means that the jet stream has to go up through Canada before it comes down here, and we know Canada's cold, so that should make some sense to you. No real blocking out over areas of the Atlantic into Greenland, but Greenland's very above average here. So I'm not going to pretend to understand all this as much as I'm saying I do. This is very complicated stuff. What I want you to gather from this is that higher latitudes are blocked, pretty much meaning that it's much easier to get cooler air, cold air, Arctic air, down from the far north regions and the higher latitudes. It's much easier to get cooler air to the south when the pattern looks like this. And since we have a trough over areas of Canada and the northern tier of the country, that's bringing our jet streak down from Canada like this, and then shooting across like this. So it's bringing cooler air in and the storm system itself, and it's moving on out. So that's all I want you to gain from this. This is still far enough away where things are going to change. But then you might be thinking, well, what do we see after this, right? I mean, I said a few times that, hey, there's a possibility that of a storm right after this. I mean, days after. So on our mid-levels here, other than the fact that we get rid of the southeast ridge a little bit during that possible time frame, which is a signal, there's no real like trough moving in, for example. And we move on out. Let's just take it to the end. So this is the end of the run. This is valid February 3rd, which is still very much wintertime, guys. Don't think winter's over. Ridge spiking up in the west. This is a decent look out across the western U.S., although it's moving into areas of the eastern U.S. Higher latitude blocking still. Slight trough signal, kind of, out over areas of the eastern U.S. So who knows what we're going to see when we get out there. But it's still at least a somewhat favorable pattern in the long range. So yeah, that's what we're looking like. Just in general, we really have a more favorable pattern just past 10 days here. Don't worry about the actual day of the week. Just think 10 days from now. Just in general, a week and a few days after when I'm making this video. Ridge out west, trough out in the east, higher latitude blocking. So favorable. Just that's all I want you to think. Yeah. So last thing I'm going to show you here is what we started off with, and we didn't actually go over it. It's the perfect time to go over it now. So when are we going to start this off? We have to decide here. So we'll start this off early Friday morning, or Friday morning here. So I've looked at this before several times. This is the Euro Ensemble, very, very reliable when looking at temperatures, for example. This blue, where it turns to blue here on your map, that is 32 degrees Fahrenheit or freezing, and then colder. So areas to the north are colder, areas to the south are warmer. That's what I want you to get from that. So you can see also numbers in Fahrenheit on your screen. So pay attention to those. Just in general, if you know you live in the central area of a state, look for a number near there. They're gridded, so they're not going to be in exactly where cities are. But we move in here. So this is our event is ongoing across some areas. See, this freezing line is just right on the border of where our rain snow mix is. And we get into Saturday afternoon. One thing I want you to note here here's a good frame to look at this. This is Saturday afternoon here. Just literally just afternoon. It's like 1 p.m. Notice how the line does like that. So there's kind of a push of cooler air from the north here. And it continues up, kind of a weird looking pattern. One of the reasons that, say, the Carolinas and Virginia seem to get so much freezing rain based off of some of these, and generally snow, wintry precipitation, is because we have something called cold air damming. So let's do this normal. I'll show it to you literally. Here is the last one of the last frames of the Euro. So this is Friday or Saturday at the exact same time. This is what we were just looking at. This is the operational Euro though. So see how these black lines, very faint, they go like this and then really get exaggerated up here. So you kind of have this trough look, this surface trough look. It's exactly what it is a surface trough. That's what it's called. And what this really does, there's a high pressure, an Arctic high somewhere up here over areas of the Northeast. And it's throwing air from up north down. And what the border here, you may notice, is the Appalachian Mountains. So between the Appalachian Mountains and the shore, it keeps much cooler air than everywhere else. So it's hard to see exactly the results of this, but we're going to have a cold air damming event. I don't know what just happened. Sorry about that. I'll zoom in here and switch it here, put it here. So yeah, we have cold air damming ongoing here. So I honestly think that our rain, snow, wintry precipitation line with this event would be here. It's oriented like that further back to the west. But notice how it says no, it's more like this. So instead, the line looks like that. It kind of folds as opposed to just being straight. That's not normal for these systems. And that's because we're getting cold air thrown down here. So it kind of throws us a bone in the Carolinas, for example, and areas of Georgia for wintry precipitation. You do not want to root for this. I saw a comment on Mitch's video from, I think, last night, and there was a comment, I don't know who wrote it, but it was like, we'll take ice either way. It doesn't matter. It's still wintry. In moderation, it's fine. I mean, it's still wintry precipitation, and with enough of it, you can kind of sled on it in a sense. It ruins the roads, though. I mean, it's not a pretty sight. It looks pretty. You can look outside, and the trees, they're kind of glistening a little bit, but they're also begging for mercy under all that weight, and that's the thing. In moderation, ice is okay, but this frame here is not a good look for the Carolinas and northern Georgia, like Atlanta. You don't want to see this because let's look at it here. This might be a little bit buggy, but either way, these are the temperatures this stuff is falling in. This is literally, I've said this probably like 5 different times in other videos. Look at the Carolinas here. I'll try to get these in frame. I apologize if my face has ever been in the way throughout this video. We have freezing rain falling in here, and it's 22 degrees at the surface. And remember, I've said this in the past couple of videos that it can be cold like this at the surface, and yet you're getting freezing rain to fall. It's because our upper level temperatures are not quite warm enough. I see. Let's do this. So notice our freezing line aloft. I say aloft, it's barely aloft. Is just freezing up here. So let's say up in this region where it's cooler. But it is warm aloft here. That's not good. This is exactly why it's not good. Let's go up one more layer. Notice how these temperatures don't really improve. This is above freezing, guys. 2 Celsius is above the freezing point of moisture, of water. And that's exactly why we're getting freezing rain in these regions. You can see there's wind barbs that show up here on this map to the right. They're pointing like this. But notice that because of that, their source region is the Gulf of Mexico. So it's feeding Gulf air aloft in here, and then we end up getting freezing rain. I'm starting to go off on a tangent here, I know. But what I really want you to get is the fact that we're getting freezing rain here is supported by the atmosphere. This is not some sort of model glitch. This is not a fluke. The models have been doing this consistently now for about 24 hours, which is not a long time, but it wasn't like the Euro did this once and then trended away from it. We don't have anything later. So I'll make a video tomorrow, go over the latest. Let's just go back here to our latest. That's exactly what I was going to show you. I mean, let's just move on here. Yeah, you can see how far south our freezing line. This is an ensemble. How far south our freezing line is in comparison to the moisture, and it's doing that weird. It's changing to freezing rain as opposed to snow, and it's below 32 Fahrenheit at the surface. That's exactly why our mid-level temperatures are just a little bit warm, so it ends up doing this, and could be dangerous. All of that to say, that's all I have for you today. This video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to cut it off here in a second. But please tune in to the videos. I'm going to be making one every day up until the time I have to go. And if I even end up going, I might bring this computer with me, and I'll do it while I'm up in West Virginia if I get a break. So tune into that if that ends up happening. But in general, pay close attention to this one, guys. This is not looking good for some areas. Some areas on the northern side where you're getting so much snow are like the GFS run that gave me at my house nearly a foot. I love to see that. But Mitch uses a term, I don't know if it's just him or the weather community, but I love it a lot. He says we have to have model maturity, which I think is a great term. You have to be able mentally to look at some of these runs that we've been seeing and then decide not to get super hyped up about it, because most likely there's a 99+% chance I'm not going to get a foot of snow at my house. It's happened before, I'm sure. I mean, we've been settled here nearly 250 years. I think at one point it's probably done it. But that's not the point. The chances are so slim and they're so low. But they're not zero. And we're seeing these runs, so who knows what's going to happen? I sure don't. We're many days out now. But at the same time, we're not out in no man's land. You've heard me use that term before. The 6Z Euro goes out 144 hours. That's less than a week, and it generally covers this event. So that's an interesting look here. And sorry, I'm just yapping. I'll let you guys go now. Thanks for watching. Share this video, get people up to date, and like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't. And I will see you in the next one.